What's good, y'all? I've been working on me, man. I've been working on myself. I don't just be telling y'all to do it. I be working on me. I've been out here accomplishing things and all that good shit. I just ain't posted. I don't tell everybody my business. Some people know, but for the most part, I don't post everything about me. I might post in a few days about what I done did, but shit. But I hope y'all been doing the same thing. Like, that's important. At the end of the day, that's on you. If you don't work on adding value to your life, if you don't work on becoming your greatest self, work on your inner self, okay? We all need to continuously do that. As long as you live, we all have something that we need to work on, or a few things that we have to work on within ourselves. Even me, I am not perfect, but I'm not afraid to sit there and tell motherfuckers what it is. Like, I have stuff I still need to work on when it comes to me, but I just hope that y'all are taking the time to do that. Like, at the end of the day, all you have is you. No one's going to love and care for you as much as you love and care for you. Matter of fact, if you want people to love and care for you, then you need to show them that you love and care for you. How about that? But anyway, I wanted to talk about I've been seeing a lot of posts lately up and down my news feed on Facebook about people dealing with the insecure. When it comes to you walking in your light, living your life, accomplishing your dreams, doing what you feel is best for you, doing what what you're supposed to be doing, when it comes to you walking in purpose, you have a lot of insecure people that will be surrounded around you. You have a lot of people who still haven't done the work on themselves. And what those people fail to realize is they're not the only one that deals with insecurities. We all have our own insecurities, okay? It's just some of us, we're not afraid to admit that we have insecurities. And then you have a lot of people out there who try to use their outside appearance to cover up their insecurities, And in all reality, there's no point in you trying to cover up your insecurities, because motherfuckers know at the end of the day that you have them. You know that you have them. And it's okay that you have them. Some of us, we battle dealing with the same insecurities. And, there's other people out there that deal with different insecurities. But at the end of the day, insecurity is an insecurity, right? And so we all have them. It's okay. But what's unfair is when you're battling insecurities and you're trying to make somebody feel bad for overcoming theirs. I'm going to say it again. It's unfair of you if you are one of those people who is dealing with their insecurities and you're trying to make someone else feel bad for overcoming theirs. That's unfair. It's fucked up. I feel like a lot of times it's in our human nature to just naturally, we tend to be jealous at times. We tend to, hate on other motherfuckers. But what you fail to realize is when you are acting insecure, when you're allowing your insecurities to be affected or to be triggered by someone else shining their light, you don't understand that the person that's light, when their light is shining, you don't understand what they went through in order to be comfortable enough to shine that light. You don't know what that person experienced or what they've been through. I guarantee you that even though you see their light shining, they done went through some shit. They had to overcome their own insecurities. So how dare you sit there and try to make somebody walk on eggshells, or feel like they have to be timid, or feel like they have to water themselves down because they've accomplished something. Instead of you sitting there feeling intimidated or acting jealous or whatever the fuck you feeling, instead of operating in those emotions, why don't you just ask that person, like, hey, how did you get to where you are? But I know why you can't, because it's your pride and your ego. When you operate in ego, ego wants to hide what you're really dealing with on the inside. Ego wants to paint this picture or this facade that you have everything put together in life, that you're not being depressed and you're not being stressed and you're not going through things. Ego wants to prove a point to other motherfuckers that's irrelevant at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Your ego, when you operate in ego, that shit hinders you for real. You're not really proving a point to nobody, because at the end of the day, real motherfuckers understand that you're being fake. And real motherfuckers ain't afraid to sit there and say, yeah, I fucked up in this area, or I'm still working on this, or just to simply say I'm not perfect. Nothing in life is more important than you being able to look in the mirror at yourself and realizing that you have work to do. Being able to look in the mirror at yourself and realize that you have insecurities and you have stuff that you have to work in, that you have to work on the inside in order for you to become your greatest self. So when somebody walks in the room and they light is shining bright, allow them to shine that light, because you have one too. We all have one. But the only difference is when you're operating in ego and when you're trying to put on this facade instead of being real, no one really cares about you trying to paint this facade that you dot every I and cross every T. Because the reality of it is that you don't. I don't even do that shit. But it don't make you a bad person. It serves you no purpose. And you trying to make it seem like you're not flawed, or that you're not insecure, that you don't have times where you're not jealous and shit like that. It serves you no purpose. When you operate like that, which is operating your ego, all that shit, it backfires on you. It fucks you up. It don't really hurt the person that you're aiming that shit towards. Because when they shine in their light, they shine in their light. But what happens is, when people shine their light, it dims the light of those who are being heartless. It dims the light of those who are haters. Someone shining their light doesn't mean that they're walking around trying to make it seem like they're better than anyone else. They have a right to shine their light. If somebody accomplished something in life, they have the right to clap for themselves. They have a right to show that shit off. They have a right to pat themselves on the back. They have a right to boast about it. If you want to make a post about it, you have a right to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you looking at it in the wrong way, if you looking at it like, oh, they just trying to show out, they just trying to look down on other people, or they think they all that. No, you think they all that. If you were smart. And I ain't saying this shit to talk about nobody, but I'm just keeping it 100. Instead of looking at those people and turning your lip up at those people and having these negative ass thoughts, that's really only a reflection of yourself. Why don't you just ask them, like, hey, can you give me some pointers? Like, how did you go about accomplishing that? Or, what did you do to get there? But for you to sit there and try to make it seem like they wrong for shining their light, that's fucked up on your part. You have a light too. But because of your perspective on things, because of your insecurities that you haven't worked on, you can't even see your own light. That's why with me, and I'm not gonna lie, back in the day, like, I used to be mindful. I used to be one of those people that walked on eggshells because I used to care about not quote unquote shitting on somebody, or I didn't want anyone to feel a certain type of way because of what I've accomplished. But what y'all fail to realize is when you do that, when you make it seem like that person should do that, mentally, that person, if they ain't strong enough, they'll feel like it drains them. It's like they know they should be celebrating something. They know they should be proud of themselves. But because of you being weak about the shit you got going on in your life, or about whatever you got going on with inside of you, you're making them feel guilty about some shit they shouldn't. They don't even need to be feeling guilty about. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with a person being proud of themselves, or, making a status, or, patting themselves on the back, or just rejoicing at something they accomplished? What's really wrong with it? Ain't nothing wrong with it. Now, we all operate differently. Me, I don't post everything about my life. Like, you got to be damn near in my face, or I damn near have to sit down and have a conversation with you for you to really know anything about me. You can't judge shit on me. You can't judge me based on what I post on my social media. Because a lot of times I post things that I agree with. When I make these videos, I be serious about this shit because it's part of my purpose. But to really get to know me, you got to really have to sit down and talk to me. You can't get on my social media and find anything out about me. But that's just me. That's just how I operate. But then you have those people out there who feel like they want to post that type of shit, and that's okay. They have a right to do that. It's their social media. You know what I'm saying? It's their platforms. But if you that type of person who, when someone's light is shining, you can't clap for them, you can't admire that, you can't say good job, or, if you can't do none of that shit, that means something is wrong with you. We all have a gift. We're all special. We all have a light. But what happens is when you fail to work on yourself, that's why I talk about this shit so much. A lot of times when you watch my videos, I talk about that shit a lot because it's serious. It's like a serious thing. When you work on yourself, it sets the tone for your life. Like, when you really work on yourself, you don't really pay attention to that shit. When you work on yourself, somebody can shine their light and you ain't gonna feel offended. When you work on yourself, somebody can shine their light and they can talk about what they achieved and all that shit, and you ain't gonna feel no type of animosity. You gonna clap for them. Why? Because you understand that you have your own light to shine. And you're special just like that other person is too. But your heart chakra, your heart space, and your perspective on life, if you ain't operating in it in the way that you should, you're going to take offense to a lot of shit that really you don't have no right to. And even if you do, it's not going to affect those other people. It ain't about to affect them. Because they're living their best life while you sitting back hating and being insecure. And you operate in ego so much to the point where you won't even humble yourself enough to be like, hey, can you help me with this? How did you get there? Because a motherfucker like me, I'm not selfish. I know at the end of the day, what's for me is for me. So if somebody come to me for some advice, or they want to know, how they can go about doing some things, I don't mind telling you. Because you can't take from me what's mine. And I can't take from you what's yours. So that's why I don't operate, my mindset isn't like that. I don't feel like if I share with you some information to help you, jump over the hurdles and climb the mountains that you have to climb in your life to get to the top, I don't mind helping you get to the top. Because I understand purpose. And I understand that as long as I stay on the path that was set before me to follow, I don't pay attention to who on the left of me or who on the right of me or who behind me. I pay attention to what Spirit asks me to pay attention to. Because at the end of the day, we all have something. When they say keep your eyes on the prize, we all have a prize. Some of us, the prize is the same. Some of us, the prize is different. But at the end of the day, you're supposed to stay in your lane. And when you feeling insecure and you making people who shine in their light feel like they should feel guilty or walk on eggshells or tiptoe in the room, I'm about to do whole ass cartwheels and backflips. I can't do no backflip for real in real life. I don't even know if I can do a cartwheel. But what I'm saying is, I'm not about to tiptoe around nobody who is insecure. Because at the end of the day, like I said, you don't know what those people went through in order to be able to even rejoice in that way. Because those thoughts do cross your mind. When you know that your light is shining, it crosses your mind to be like, damn, what if they, I don't want nobody to feel like I'm looking down on them. Those thoughts do cross your mind. But at the end of the day, it's like, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know the blood, the sweat, and the tears. You don't know what I had to go through to accomplish what I've accomplished. And I have a right to be proud of myself about that. I'm not about to walk in a room with my head down. Nor am I going to feel sorry for you because you're at a place in your life where you're insecure. Because those of y'all who really know me, and it's only a handful, know that I've grown a lot. I used to be extremely insecure about me. And now can't nobody tell me shit about me. People may have their opinions, but I don't give a fuck. It is not your job. If your light is shining, I encourage you to shine the fuck out of that light. Don't worry about who's feeling insecure. People gonna talk they shit. And like I had to learn, if they ain't talking shit about you, then that means you're not doing something right. If they talking shit, you on the right path. And that goes for anybody. If you know in your heart that you're walking in your purpose, if you know in your heart that you've overcame your own insecurities and your own, at the end of the day, we don't know what each other really been through. Like, unless you sit down with a person and they trust you enough to tell you their story, you don't know what those people been through. Even the motherfucker that you see smiling all the time, they done been through some shit. I guarantee you, the class clown, the person who, lightens up the room, and the person that brings the good vibe, that person probably been through worse than you. But you never know what they had to overcome to keep that smile on their face. You never know what they had to overcome to be able to lighten up the mood or to make other people feel happy, or, you know, just to be that type of person. Because I guarantee you they done been through some shit. They done been betrayed and let down, and people done turn their back on them. They done been through a whole lot of shit, but they still able to rock that smile. Times where they may have want to cry, but they ain't let not one tear fall. Times where they wanted to give up, but they ain't fucking give up. It be times where they want to give up, where they want to give up, but they still find strength in them to sit there and encourage the next motherfucker not to give up. Times where they probably can't pat themselves on the back, but they still clap for other people. So I encourage you to shine your light and fuck how those people feel. If they are insecure, then that's on them, because we all have insecurities. But if you overcame something, if you accomplished something, be proud of that. Walk with your head held high. And one of my videos, I want to say last year, I made a video where I talked about where it was a time in my life where I used to walk with my head down. I used to walk with my head down. I couldn't look nobody in the eye. I couldn't do none of that shit. But it took me years to understand that was because I didn't do the work on myself. I cared too much about what other people thought of me. I cared too much about the opinions of others. And because I cared too much about that shit, it made me fail to realize that all I had to prove a point to was to me. How do I think of me? How much do I love me? How much do I care about me? And now you can't tell me shit. You can't. Now I don't walk with my head held down. Now I look you right in your eyes when I talk to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to clap for myself. I'm able to pat myself on the back. It was a time where I waited for somebody to pat me on the back. I waited for somebody to clap for me. Now I clap for my damn self. You ain't got to clap for me. I encourage you to do the same thing. And for those of y'all who still have issues with your insecurities, I encourage you to work on those. Stop sitting here trying to make people feel bad or feel guilty, put this fake ass guilt trip on these people who feel like they feel like they want to rejoice in their accomplishments or be proud of what they achieved. They have a right to do that, and you do too. Stop being a fucking hater. And learn to take notes. Because you can be just as great. And you are. But when you looking at it the way you looking at it, you can't tap into that shit. It's a healing process for all of us. And the first step to that shit, to healing in general, is admitting that you got a fucking problem. And it's okay if you have a problem. Work on that shit. It's not going to take away from you to clap for other people or to congratulate other people. Because at the end of the day, all you're doing is hurting yourself.